So yesterday, the National Dialogue Committee, led by Kimani Ichung'wah and Kalonzo Musyoka at the Bomas of Kenya, appealed to the former IEBC commissioners to make their final submissions about the previous 2022 general elections. So Commissioners Irene Masit and Juliana Cherera made their submissions abroad. Remember that they are still in exile. But the way they spoke as if they were sent to do that. They spoke as if they did not participate at all in the tallying process of the previous elections. Yet they were the ones who tallied the results of the previous 2022 general elections. They signed the forms before submitting or forwarding those forms to the IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati for verifications. And I was a little bit worried because when they were asked to provide any proof on why they disowned the presidential elections of the year 2022 general elections, they were not able to do that. Up to date, they speak lies.
Commissioner Wanderi, what you are saying is not a small matter.
It is not a small matter.
You have a whole nation to deal with here.
Yes.
How come you are not able to prove to the Supreme Court, show any evidence where what the chairman announced and what was verified was invariance? Why didn't you prove that to the highest court of the land? Then you come to bring it here.
Mheshimiwa Raila, with due respect, we are not saying we were right and everybody else was wrong. We are just explaining the procedure, the way it happened, where they are.
So they basically talked about why they fled Kenya. According to them, they were being threatened together with their families. They also talked about why they resigned as the IEBC commissioners. According to them, they were also forced to do that. They also talked about why they disowned the presidential results of the previous 2022 general elections. And I was shocked. Up to date, Juliana Cherera still disowns the elections or the presidential results of the previous 2022 general elections.
We want the next generation of commissioners at IBC be people that will be handled with integrity that it deserves. And their voice will not be shut down because as commissioners, we were there in the kitchen. We know what happened. Some of these things need to be spoken in a safe space. Commissioners, past and every generational commissions, and even to make it wider, the constitutional commissions that are there, they have something to give back to our country. Having commissioners and chasing them away, we lose a lot of the investment that the country puts on them. We only wish that we can have a safe space to talk about these things.
Recording in progress.
So that any other commissioner that is employed at IBC will not be there just because of the salary, but will be there to ensure that things are done right and integrity is preserved.
All those issues we are going to look at in this particular video here, because Justice Nyang'aya, who was also part of the IEBC commissioners, the Cherera 4, who disowned the presidential results, refused to participate or refused to make his submissions. Also, the chairman of the IEBC, Wafula Chebukati, refused to make his submissions. But there is a statement that he made, which we are going to look at in this particular video also. But I want us to begin by the statement that this Cherera 4 made during their submissions at the National Dialogue Committee. We are going to look at the statement of Francis Wanderi, Juliana Cherera, and Irene Masit. So let us begin by Francis Wanderi, who says that, I want to admit that we, Cherera 4, were forced to resign. It was not our desire. Juliana Cherera says that, it was bad for me and my family. We have been threatened just because we spoke what we saw. Even today, we stand by our word. We disown the presidential election results. I didn't resign because of myself. I resigned for the sake of the country. Irene Masit says that I am outside the country for security reasons. I come from Rift Valley and they say that I betrayed the president. I have never gone to my home. So those are some parts of the statements of these IEBC commissioners. But what these IEBC commissioners will not tell you is that the tribunal committee led by Muchelule, if you can still remember, found them guilty. And that is why they resigned even before they were asked to do so, because they were guilty. They will not also tell you that they were hosted by the Azimio, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga in a certain apartment or Yaya apartment in Kilimani. And there were actually some Azimio la Umoja Alliance leaders who visited them. Also on that particular issue of them claiming that they were being threatened, that is why they went to exile. That part I don't believe if it's true, because Francis Wanderi, up to date, is currently in the country and nothing has happened to him. Yesterday you heard him speak at the NDC, but there's nothing that is going to happen to him. So basically, President William Ruto has got nothing to do with these commissioners. Let them carry their own cross, because all these issues will still haunt them. What I strongly believe is that William Ruto won the previous election. These IEBC commissioners had a strategic plan to deliver Raila Odinga's presidency. But because they failed to do that, that is why they had to go to exile. Nobody threatened them. It is only because of their guilt. But in this particular video here, I just want us to mainly focus on the former IEBC chairman, Wafula Chebukati, why he declined to make his submissions at the National Dialogue Committee, and we will also look at his statement that he made exposing Raila Odinga, which I find it very, very important because he exposes various issues that needs to be discussed in the National Dialogue Committee. But before that, just in case you're here for the first time, or maybe you're currently watching yet you haven't subscribed, I'm just requesting you to please take a second or two and click to the subscribe button. You can also give this video a thumbs up, because if you do that, YouTube will automatically recommend this particular video and this entire platform to reach out to others. To my returning subscribers who are currently watching this video also, I want to appreciate you for your continued support. Basically, without your support, this channel, this platform cannot be where it is currently. If you also want to automatically receive the notifications updates from YouTube immediately I post a video here, just press the notification bell. So let us have a look at Wafula Chebukati's statement that he made and why he declined to make his submissions at the NDC, because the Azimio la Umoja Alliance leaders and supporters strongly believe that he's actually guilty. He can't explain how William Ruto became the president of the Republic of Kenya. The Kenya Kwanza Alliance supporters and leaders on the other side strongly believe that it was the best move by Wafula Chebukati not to make his submissions, because that is actually doubting the independent institutions. Wafula Chebukati announced the winner of the previous 2022 general elections. His results were also upheld at the Supreme Court of Kenya. That simply tells you that Wafula Chebukati's results of the previous 2022 general elections were actually very legit. So Wafula Chebukati says that a commission of inquiry should be formed to investigate the incidents that took place on the 15th of August 2022 at the Bomas of Kenya, and why Raila Odinga sponsored the chaos at the Bomas of Kenya. You all remember what happened. You all remember how the Bomas of Kenya was declared a crime scene, because immediately Raila Odinga found out that he was losing the elections. He sponsored the chaos. Secondly, Wafula Chebukati also says that the Commission of Inquiry must investigate why Azimio La Umoja Alliance abducted, tortured and murdered some IEBC commission or staffs. Let me just read for you this particular statement here. It says that Chebukati insisted that the Commission of Inquiry should investigate why some of his commission staff were abducted, tortured and killed during the election period. To my considered opinion, all what Chebukati is talking about here simply makes sense, because at the Bomas of Kenya NDC, or National Dialogue Committee, what they should be discussing is these issues instead of going to the election tallying process and the results, which does not make sense. It is a thing of the past. The results were announced and upheld by the Supreme Court of Kenya. Do you want to tell me that you can doubt the IEBC? Of course you can. Then how can you doubt the Supreme Court of Kenya? Did William Ruto has got anything to do with the Supreme Court of Kenya upholding his elections? I don't believe that is true. And finally, Wafula Chebukati also says that if he would have submitted his issues on the previous 2022 general elections at the Bomas NDC, he would have simply betrayed the commissioners who were tortured and murdered. Let me just read for you this statement here. It says that, with tremendous respect to the committee, participation in the talks would be unmitigated betrayal to the staff who were tortured and murdered, and unfortunate reward of impunity. Remember the returning officers who were murdered, someone like Daniel Musyoka of Embakasi East, returning officer, whose body was found later on, I think in Kajiado, if I can still remember very well. You can also remember Geoffrey Gitobu of Kichungu, who lost his life during the election process. So those are the kind of issues that must be discussed instead of issues that don't make sense. What do you think about all these issues? What do you think about the Cherera 4 submission at the National Dialogue Committee at the Bomas of Kenya yesterday? Also, what can you say about Wafula Chebukati's statement? Let me know your thoughts, your views and your opinions on the comment section below. Otherwise, I don't have much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, my name is Jason, but please don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.